All right, Jack, another day, another FPL pod. How you doing?
Joshua, yeah, I'm doing well, man. Doing well after that mammoth game week that's still going on now, isn't it? We've got one last game to go, Arsenal Wolves. But what an absolute monster of a game week 26. Yeah, I'm still reeling from it. How are you doing?
Good, yeah. I mean, like you said, monster of a game week. Points, points, points. And I know you've got some points as well, spoilers. But yeah, points flying around, a lot of points to be had or a lot of points to be missed, depending on what strategy you took.
Yeah.
Going to be interesting talking that through.
Yeah, love it. What a week for that triple captain. Definitely the best triple captain I've ever had, for sure. But yeah, as you say, we'll go into that. But the fun doesn't stop, Josh, does it? Because we've had this week, and now we've got another double game week coming up next week. That's also a blank game week, and then there's two doubles after that. So we're going to focus today, aren't we, on how best to plan for the next game week 27, with all that considered, and just what you should bear in mind with the subsequent game weeks after that, I think, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've said this before. You definitely have. You can catch yourself in a trap trying to plan too far ahead, especially when it's like so quick moving. So mainly focus on 27, but a nod to 28 and 29.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. And yeah, we're going to look at the like template free hit team for this week. So I think that a lot of people are free hitting, and there's a very much standard bunch of players people are going for. So we'll assess that and have a look at maybe other players that people aren't really talking about that you could replace within that template. And we've looked at the stats and put together an alternative free hit based purely on XG data. So we can use that as a sort of reference point as well. So that'll be good. And then we'll just discuss our plans. So yeah, looking forward to the pod.
Awesome. Well, okay, let's start with the good. Even though the game week's still going on, 26, Jack, one more game to play, but how you doing?
Yeah, doing well, Josh. There's no other way of spinning it, really. Doing pretty well. So I went for the triple captain Salah, like a lot of people did. Goes without saying that paid dividends. I know you did the same. 84 points. I think it's more than just Salah is more than any other game week I've had this week in terms of points, with 84 points. I don't think I've breached 84 points yet for my whole team. So that's amazing, obviously. But I'm sitting on 150 points, which is at the moment net, which is really good. I took a hit to get in Salah. So I think I'm on 152, but Ramsey at Villa's coming in because Reguilon didn't play. So yeah, 150 net at the moment with Cody and someone else, Saka, to play in this Arsenal Wolves game. So I'm happy, man. Game week ranked 32k. I've gone up nearly 200,000 spots in the overall ranking. I cannot complain. I feel like I got fortunate with Kane banging against City. Dennis got a goal. Rafinha got a goal against United. Pope 2 clean sheets. I mean, as well as the Salah thing, I just got really, really fortunate with the other picks. So yeah, loving life, man.
Fortunate or planning? I know, like Pope, for example, that was
did plan
a
the
thought out pick, wasn't it? Ready for this little run. So
very pleased with the Pope pick. Yeah, going forward, he's obviously got doubles coming up too. So yeah, really pleased with that one. Yeah, can't complain. Hoping for something tonight from Cody and Saka. Either of them, I'll take anything. So yeah, really tough game to call that one as well. I don't know which way it's going to go, but yeah, good stuff. How about you, man? You've had a pretty good week yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the plan is gone to plan. Salah triple cap, same as you, and then brought in Saka, which was a nice 10 points, and brought in Van Dijk, 14 points. So that's all good, but was let down by the rest, I think. So Antonio's just cliff hanging onto the team still. I need to get him out.
Get him out, Josh.
But he's there. He blanked. Edouard, I mean, that guy.
Was it a 1 minute job?
Like 1 minute, and annoyingly for me, and I'm sure a lot of managers, prevented points off the bench. It would have
Gallagher.
been 12 points for Gallagher off the bench. But, a lot of people were in that boat. And I did think about that when picking the team. Edouard versus Gallagher. Edouard should have had potentially 2 games, but didn't play the first, and then only came on for 1 minute in the second. So
That's so lucky.
You
That's
just
so unlucky.
got to roll with them, haven't you? But yeah, Semedo got in as well, Ramsdale and Saka, who are going to be playing tonight. So just see what happens with that. But disappointing with the two City defenders, obviously not getting cleans up what I was expecting to be a clean against Spurs. Up and down Spurs, they showed up for one game against City and then returned to their typical form. So, but as a Liverpool fan, I'm happy to lose those points for the City loss.
Yeah, it's always nice when if you have a bit of a disappointment in fantasy, your kind of real world team allegiance actually benefits. So it's like you get a little hedge there, don't you? But yeah, unlucky with Diaz Cancelo, unlucky, very unlucky with that last minute Arsenal goal that went in for Brentford. Like that's really swung my week a bit. I think a lot more people would have closer to my score if Arsenal hadn't conceded. Because there's a lot of Ramsdales, obviously, and there's a lot of Arsenal defenders floating around. So yeah, I was thanking my lucky stars for that Brentford goal, but could easily be a clean sheet tonight for them. So we'll see what happens with the Wolves game. But yeah, you can't complain with a score over 100 ever, can you? Really?
Not at all. I think that's the best ever triple cap I've played.
Oh, me, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I remember like Sanchez got 75 once, but I don't think I did it then. And I think Kane got 30 points in a week once, but yeah, I certainly didn't do it then. So yeah, loving it. When they were just getting those penalties, it was glorious, wasn't it?
Yeah, rolling up again. He's just, and he could have had more as well. He's just insane.
Yeah, I was fuming when Mane got the second goal because I think that robbed him of the 3 bonus in the last game. But
84 would do, I guess.
Yeah, you were loving that Van Dijk goal as well. I take it, bonus.
Yeah, just love watching all the corners, just watching go up. It was thinking, with their defense, that quite easily he could get on the end of some headers, and he just wasn't even marked for his goal. It's just, I think they've given up by then.
Leeds are terrible, aren't they?
They were terrible, but I mean, leaving Van Dijk to basically run at goal and have a free header from 6 yards out.
Yeah, but I think I could have scored there. Like watching that, I think I could have just run and done the same thing he did there.
Yeah, he literally just ran from the edge of the box. Like it wasn't even any deceptive kind of run, just edge of the box where they all started, ran straight into the 6 yard box and just headed it, free header. So, but yeah, take it anyway.
Definitely take it. Yeah, good. All right. So yeah, good weeks for us all in all.
Pat on the back.
Yeah, good. So what are we talking about now? So game week 27, Josh. Let's move on from this amazing week. We've got another week to tackle. Move on
to business.
Move on and upwards, back to business. We move. What's going on in game week 27 for stars?
Well, you've mentioned it. So it's kind of a double and a blank, but it's a not very exciting or sexy double. So we've got Burnley as the only team that is actually doubling, and that's because it was set. Leicester were supposed to have a blank, but then they've obviously refixtured one of the Burnley game against Leicester. So Burnley, the only team to double.
Yeah.
And then there are blanks for Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea. So in Arsenal, Liverpool, quite highly owned teams. So that's going to affect a lot of people's plannings. And then I thought at this point, it might be a good time just to mention before we jump in that, the game week 28 doubles that you've mentioned and game week 29, that's got to affect people's planning. So I was just going to quickly run through what they are, because that's going to affect probably what we talk about and who you could pick for game week 27.
Yeah, go on then. Who's doubling when?
Do it now. 28 is game week 28. The doubles are Villa have Southampton at home and Leeds away. Leeds have got Leicester away, Villa at home, Southampton, Villa away, Newcastle at home, and Wolves have Crystal Palace and then Watford at home.
Good ones in there. Some real tasty ones there, I think.
Decent. And so that's the 4 teams doubling. And then 29, we've got Arsenal doubling with Leicester at home, Liverpool at home, Brighton doubling with Liverpool at home, Tottenham at home, Everton doubling with Wolves at home, Newcastle at home, and Newcastle doubling with Chelsea away, Everton away, and then Spurs making it the 5th team to double, I think, there, with United away, Brighton away. So the first thing to note is there's no team that doubles in both. So you can't look at it from that perspective.
That's
and looking at it, I mean, I know it's hard for people just listening, but there aren't particularly any that like jump out like the Liverpool double this week, for example. There's some that are okay, like Wolves, for example, in 28 have got Palace at home, Watford at home. That doesn't look too bad, but there aren't any others which really shine unless you think there's one that takes your fancy particularly.
Yeah, no. I mean, and the annoying thing is there is no team that doubles in both weeks. So if you're just going with transfers, anyone you bring in for 28 will not have a double in 29 and vice versa. Vice versa, will they? So you've got to really think about, okay, I mean, maybe look at players that you've got from teams that are not doubling in either week and see if you still want them. So the Liverpool players, Crystal Palace is one, Man United, like those, looking at players from those teams and maybe thinking about replacing them with 28 and 29ers. I mean, even Burnley don't have a double for some reason in these two weeks, which is frustrating. Despite being loads of games in hand still. But yeah, it's tricky. But let's talk about take it back to 27 then. Should we start with Burnley, Josh? How good are Burnley? Should we be bringing in Burnley assets? Should we take hits for Burnley assets? And if so, who should we look at? What do you think of Burnley?
Well, before this game week, I was not impressed, and I would probably say you only really want maybe one asset, even though they're doubling, and kind of throwing Weghorst around. I know he was coming into the double with a bit of an injury, so we're focusing more on the attack. But looking at their two performances, we have to bring into the question now, like, do you want the Popes that you've got, or the Ben Mees, who not only but kind of, did he bag a goal in the end?
He did. Yeah.
Remember it popping up and then disappearing, then popping up again. So yeah, I think it's put the cat amongst the pigeons the last two games in this double game we've just had. So I would say it's open. I think I probably wouldn't want to go more than a double up for Burnley players because it's still Burnley and you don't want to get too excited. They had two great performances, but I wouldn't want to be jumping on them too much because you probably don't want to have more than maybe one asset past 27. And then the big question is, do you want to go defense or attack? For me, the context of my team is I've got fires to put out up top, or players that I'm not happy with up top, Eduard and Antonio, weighing that attack down for me. So Weghorst is the one to naturally lean towards.
Yeah. And I guess what helps you there is West Ham and Crystal Palace don't have any doubles coming up, so you're not like obliged to keep either of them, are you, for those two?
No, I hate them, and two, they've got no doubles. So.
Yeah. Whereas I'm still sitting on King and Dennis. And hang on, no, Watford don't have a double, do they?
They do not double. You could
offload
those if you want.
What am I doing with those clowns? Yeah, maybe I will offload them. Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, that's a good one to look at, getting rid of the players that don't double for Burnley. But yeah, I mean, so Weghorst you mentioned for Burnley, a good one. I did a TikTok and a YouTube short a few days ago I picked a Burnley player in each position. So Pope, obviously, I went with me in defence, and I went with Weghorst up top. And then the midfield is the tricky one because Cornet is injured, it looks like, or certainly isn't fully fit. And I went with Brownhill because if you're transferring him in, he's so cheap that he's a bit like Ramsey at Villa, that he's a good pick for when they double, but he's so cheap you won't care when you bench him. Is there anyone else in the midfield that you like for Burnley?
I mean, in times gone past, we would look to McNeil as a bit of a spark for them, but he's not done it this year. So Cornet's the one who's kind of taken up the mantle when he's not there, but the injury problem, as you said. So I think you've named all the key targets. It's just which ones and how many do you want to go for 27. And for me, I'm a bit wary of having too many Burnley assets past this week. I don't think you're going to get burnt too much by not having them. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But for me, like, one is fine. And the context of my team, it's Weghorst. For someone else, If you're looking at offload a defender because they're not doubling up to 29 or whatever, then me's your man, isn't it?
I think I'm a bit more bullish than you on their defensive capability. I think Pope has really stepped up his game since January. And yeah, Ben Mee will be buzzing after. They'll be loving having kept a clean sheet at Spurs. And Mee obviously scored. Tarkowski's back. Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if there isn't one clean sheet in this double for them. So yeah, I'm looking to get Mee in for Reguilon, who obviously that's an easy one for me because Reg isn't even guaranteed a place in the game for Spurs. But yeah, I'll be looking to get Mee in, and probably a Weghorst as well for one of the Watford boys. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear which Burnley assets are good, isn't it? We've sort of covered that there. If you were on a free hit then, Josh, let's bring in the free hit conversation now. Would you go for 3 Burnley?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of putting just this game week under the magnifying glass, isn't it? With no consideration of anything past it. So yeah, you're maximizing your opportunity for them to score points, aren't you? With the 180 minutes, and they don't rotate a lot, Burnley. So you know when you're looking at these players, unless they're injured, the ones that you said they're going to start. So it's such a safe pick. You don't have any risk really. So definitely would triple up. And for me, if preempting your next question, who are the 3? It would be probably Pope, Mee, and Weghorst for me.
Yeah, that's who I'm going to try and get. I think with a hit. Weghorst's a weird one. He seems to, like, every game he kind of takes a beating and starts limping around, and people get worried, and then he's fine and he plays the next game.
Beast.
Yeah, he really is. But yeah. I mean, so moving on to the free hit, then we've obviously got blanks for Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea. I don't think people have many Chelsea assets now, and if you do, you probably haven't really been paying much attention because they've barely played in the last month. But a lot of people have obviously 3 Liverpool and potentially 2 or 3 Arsenal. Do you think you should free hit? At what point should you think about a free hit in the context of owning those players, Josh?
As in, what number of players are you going to field or cannot field?
Yeah, or sort of. Yeah, I think or what would make you free hit it this week, if at all?
What really makes it difficult this season is there's so many more game weeks to come, which have a lot more teams involved in, doubles, for example. And we haven't even talked about 30, which is going to be game week 30, which is expected to be the blank for the FA Cup fixtures. So that, the ones that come into the next round, that'll be the blank there. And that should be a host of teams and players. So if you've only got one left, then that's there. So for me, I think the threshold for this particular week 27, because we've still got so much to come, is actually, it's quite a high threshold before you use it. So I would, you're talking 8 or 9 players for me, because you can take a hit. We've mentioned maybe not want to take more than 1 hit, 2 max with the -8, because that's a lot to make up. But you can take 1 hit and still leave yourself quite in a good position, and maybe get some more change out of a free hit in a better game week, because there's not a lot really going around from what I can see.
Yeah, I think if you've got 3 Liverpool and 3 Arsenal, a free hit's probably a good way to go, because the ones you've got are probably quite good players to hold in the future. So you don't want to take out a Liverpool and Arsenal player for a -4 for Burnley players, and then be like, oh, I wouldn't mind them in the next week, particularly as Arsenal have the double, because it's more likely you'd look to take out Arsenal players as a kind of knee-jerk thing. But I'm with you in that I think people are really, really tempted to free hit this week because other people are. Whereas any regular week where you've got 10, 11 players playing, you wouldn't even think about the free hit, would you? You wouldn't even consider it. So why are people talking about it? Because I think it's because other people are forced into doing it. It's that kind of weird, it's that mini blank double game week situation that's swaying people. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, in the future, after game week 30 is traditionally when I play my chips. There's the big blank in 30 that you've said. I've only got 1 free hit left, so I'll play it then. and then look to wildcard and bench boost in the carnage that follows. So yeah. But for those people that are free hitting, there is a sort of template going around. So this is the sort of best 11 that seems to be floating around for this game week. So you've got Pope in goal, Livramento, me, and Laporte in defence, Mahrez, Sancho, Sterling, and Son in midfield, and then Weghorst, Kane, and Broja up top. So that is a good team, I think. That does look really good, and I can see why people are free hitting there. What do you think of that? What do you think?
Yeah, good in the players in terms of, Kane, Son, that you got two attacking or two midfield City players, and then the three that we mentioned were the big boys for the Burnley doubles. Livramento, I'm a bit concerned about because he only got his spot back because the other fullback was at Perraud. He had COVID, I think. That's right, wasn't it? So, and he, I think, will be available for selection for this next game. So,
right,
whether he comes straight back in against Norwich or whether they give it back to Livy, because I think he did play well from what I've heard. So
he does like Livy, doesn't he? But yeah,
he does. But then he lost his spot, so it's hard to really say one or the other. So, but I mean, that's still not a bad pick. It's just a question mark over his starting.
I'd go Bednarek personally over him, I think.
More confirmed for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know the other questions are probably relate to price. So Laporte, why wouldn't you have Cancelo, for example, and Sancho to Bruno? Bruno's probably the best pick from a United perspective, but they're price questions because you've already got, Sterling, Kane, Son in there.
I guess with the Man City ones, it's weird, I think, because I think free hitters have to be a bit careful with City because in the past, when they've lost a game, Pep has heavily rotated for the next one. It's almost like a punishment rotation. So I don't think any City player is nailed at the moment at all, even De Bruyne and Sterling. I think it's a real risk going with Sterling personally after that loss. And yeah, I'd be more inclined to put that Sterling spot to a Bruno, like you say, and maybe move Sancho to spend a bit less money on City mids, maybe with Mahrez and a Foden or something. Tricky one.
We can talk all day about City, isn't it, and the choices that we just don't know. But that's part of the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes me not fear them though. Not having them, I'm not that scared of them because I know there's crazy rotation going on there. So this week, even though I don't have a City asset, I'm not as scared of. I'm more scared of Son, for example, not owning him, than and Weghorst. If I didn't buy him, I'd be more worried about him than a City player.
Yeah, and it's funny, like I know Son did well in that game, a game you wouldn't expect him to perform, but then they obviously performed so poorly.
Yeah.
And Conte's comments, like this is not a team that we should be scared of, but if they've people like Son and Kane in that team, more so Son, I reckon, because Kane just seems to be he hasn't done a lot really this season, is he? But Son, he can do it in any game.
Yeah, I mean Conte's comments though were horrendous, weren't they? Really, if you're a Spurs fan, you don't want to hear that.
No. It's like he was handing in his resignation, but without handing in his resignation.
It really did sound like that, didn't it? It was scary. I mean, they're a basket case club, aren't they? They really are at the moment. But yeah, Kane scoring 2 against City and then nothing against Burnley is bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to have Kane, obviously, but I'm not as delighted with having him as I thought I'd be going into this week. But yeah.
So yeah, I mean those would be the only comments, but it looks like the major fixture imbalances have been targeted, haven't they? So like Southampton versus Norwich, for example, that's why Livy and Broja are in there, and then those kind of City players because they are playing Everton away, albeit, but Everton haven't been great either, and City have got the firepower. So yeah, the team's made up of exactly the kind of players from teams that you'd want for this game week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, to play devil's advocate, For our beloved algorithm teams that we don't talk about anymore, so for the XG11, I've free hitted this week and just built a team that's purely XG based. All right, so it's interesting to see how it compares to this template one. There's a bit of crossover, but not too much. So it's Pope in goal. It's 0 XG for every goalie, so I just went with Pope. Start. Bednarek is in there for the highest defenders from XG. So this was not even considering the double game week. This was just from teams that are playing this week. So it's Bednarek, Dawson, and Harry Maguire at the back, which is interesting. Dawson's obviously banged a few goals in. Maguire has as well. And then the midfield is a 3-4-3. So there's Bowen, Sterling, James from Leeds, and Bruno Fernandes. So Bruno and Sterling make this, even though we were weighing up one or the other just then. Jared Bowen's still in there. He hit the bar, didn't he, this week, I think. As a non-owner, again, I was very lucky that he did nothing there. And Dan James from Leeds, who's been playing up front. So even though they're hopeless defensively, he still looks lively. And then the forward three is Harry Kane, Broja, and Shea Adams. So 2 Southampton players.
Wow.
Who've got Norwich this week, and they're looking quite good. And then they've got a decent double the next week, Villa and Newcastle. So I think, Southampton players are not a bad shout this week if you're free hitting or not, even if you're not free hitting, because you'll bring them in for a Norwich game, and then you've got the double next week. So I think that's a tempting one for Saints.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of brings us full circle back to the question of the Burnley double. Are you happier with Broja on form against Norwich in a single game versus Weghorst, Palace away, Leicester away? I know it's 180 minutes, but
it's so difficult, isn't it?
It's closer than you would expect it to be. The argument, isn't it, between the two?
Yeah, I mean, Norwich aren't as bad as they were, I would say. They're not the complete mugs that they were at the start of the season. So Broja against them, I don't know, isn't as... I'd say Leeds are more whipping boy than Saints now, defensively.
They just don't defend.
They don't, do they? Is it? Fucking weird. It is so weird. Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't know what to do, on these 3 consecutive weeks. I don't know what the best play is. To get most optimal thing.
Would you advocate the kind of idea of just taking like a -4, -8 each of the weeks, just so you can double up? I know that's less of an argument for this one because it's only Burnley, but 4 teams in 28, 5 in 29.
Yeah, having just done that, taken a -4 this week and really reaped the rewards. So I did. What did I do? I got Salah and Saka in for Bruno and Jota. So that's a 22-point increase. And I was contemplating the -8 to get Ben Mee in for Reguilon. And that would have been a -4 hit for a, how much did Mee get? He got loads of points, didn't he? Would have been even more worth it. So after I've got like the recency bias of this week that says hits are a good thing when there's a double, because it really paid off for me this week, but it might not necessarily the next one. I mean, Salah, it's a cheat code, isn't it? Salah, because he's always going to return. But yeah, I think, especially if you're looking to build rank and chase rank and not just consolidate, I think being a bit aggressive and taking hits is the way to do it in the next few weeks. And I think that's what I'm leaning towards. I'll definitely take a -4 this week, maybe even a -8 because you're convincing me about Southampton strikers now. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You're a bit more conservative a player than me. So are you tempted to hit?
But I've also been burnt by that recently. So I keep telling myself every time we do this pod in prep, and each time I look at the plans to snap out of it and go switch to plan B.
You took a great one this week, by the way.
Yeah, that worked out well. But it's only again a -4. That's not on a double game week. It's a big double. It's not. It's not really sticking your neck out there, is it? So
for you, Josh, it is. It is for you.
That's big.
Yeah, I think you give yourself some credit. Come on, baby step.
shaking as I was doing it, ready to click the button. But yeah, I think Yeah, for me, this game week, because of the players that you're having in your squad are probably ones you want to keep in, as you said. Arsenal players, which will double in 29. Liverpool players you want anyway, because they're just top of all the charts in goal scoring. Yeah, like that. Maybe you want just a -4 max there, I would say, because anyone you get out, you want to bring back in.
Yeah.
Unless they're, not those other players, but then you're eating into your playing players for this game week. So for me, I can get around not sacrificing any of those players and having 10 and just leave benching them. And I'm probably happy with that.
Yeah, you're not going to take the hit to put up to 11.
No, because it starts getting into players that I really don't want to get rid of.
Yeah, there you go. Like we said. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. So the only one I'm actually willing to get rid of probably out of the Liverpool and Arsenal players is Martinelli at the moment. Not because he just got the red, but because he hasn't really been doing it recently anyway.
Yeah, he's starting tonight. I've just seen Smith Rowe is not even in the squad tonight because of his he's ill apparently. Arsenal, why do Arsenal players get ill all the time? I swear it's just Arsenal players. It's bizarre. Illness. It's a sick team.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
But that's a big blow for some people, I think, for Smith Rowe. Glad we went with Saka.
Hooey.
Oh, yes. But yeah, interesting one, Arsenal. Smith Rowe is just one of those. You're not even worried when he's benched because he normally comes on the scores, but that is a real blow for owners of him. Right. Yeah. So, Josh, I mean, have we covered it there? What more is there to say about this 27? I feel like we kind of have covered.
We've covered it for sure, and I think there's no point talking 28, 29 until we get there.
I agree. I mean, captaincy is one, isn't it? Do you captain a doubler in Burnley, or do you captain a singler that you're more confident in? That's a tricky one.
That's the $1 million question, and one that I'm currently sat on the fence about.
Yeah. Should we segue that into our plans then?
Because let's do it.
That'll come into it, won't it? So tell me your plans, Joshy.
Currently, plans are to bring in either Weghorst or Brozier, and then also get rid of Martinelli for a midfielder. Midfielder to be confirmed.
So that would be a -4. That would be
a -4. So I wouldn't want to go anything more than a -4, and then that would leave me with 10 playing players. I'm sorted.
Yeah.
And that would only actually be one. If I brought in Weghorst over Brozier, that would be only one doubler. So really, captaincy for me would be either Brozier or Weghorst, whoever I bring in out of those two.
Really, you'd think about captain Brozier, would you?
I would. I mean, maybe it's because the last game I watched him play, he just looks a handful.
He's a real handful. Yeah, you'd hate
very good. And the reason I'm kind of leaning more towards him is one of the only reasons I want Weghorst is because of these doubles. Whereas actually, I've kind of liked the look of Brozier for the medium term in my team anyway. And so it's kind of that thing of, why just go with the guy you want, maybe.
Yeah.
But the other thing is doubles reap rewards. So you'd always just put Weghorst on ice for one game week and go with put Brozier on ice for one game week, go with Weghorst this week, and then bring him in later on. But it's tricky. It's tricky.
It is tricky, isn't it? It is tricky. I mean, yeah. Would you ever? I guess you're not going with any Burnley defenders then?
No, and that's mainly because of the people I would be replacing to bring them in. So
you're quite big at the back, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Diaz, Cancelo, and Semedo who are all going to play, and the only non-playing are Van Dijk and Trent. So that's a bit tricky, but Van Dijk was probably someone I brought in for the double, and maybe not happy with him holding Liverpool spot longer term. So it might be an opportunity to get him out anyway.
Yeah.
For me would be the player I'd like, but it's an opportunity to get rid of Martinelli in midfield anyway. So that would mean I have to bring in a midfielder.
Yeah, you've got 2 free hits still, don't you? Are you how close? How tempted are you to pull the trigger on it?
Not really.
I'm
I'd
sensing.
say like a 15%. Like it's
Okay.
just I don't know why. Maybe you can talk me out of it, but or talk me into using it. But it just doesn't feel like a nice game week to do it. I'm not
Yeah,
seeing a lot of you
a lot
know
of upside. Yeah,
upside or against other players, for example.
yeah, I agree. I love doing it when we've said it before, but when there's a mega blank game week and you've literally got 4 or 5 players playing. So taking a free hit, you're guaranteed to get more points than if you didn't. Whereas a week like this, there's no saying whether a free hit will even bring you more points than your regular team. And that would just be the worst feeling ever, wouldn't it? I think I had that in a game week gone by this year with my first one. It just completely blew up in my face. So yeah, fair play to you. I think that's the right move.
Yeah, but
David.
then it's the right move until it's not the right move, isn't it? So we'll see. But at the moment, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not enticed. Although a problem is captaincy candidates.
Mm.
Yeah, no one else in the team is really jumping out like a prime candidate. So
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky with no Liverpool. Mine, yeah. Yeah.
but what about yourself? What are you thinking?
Yeah. I think I'm set on a -4.
Hmm.
So I think I'm set on I'd Regulon out for Ben Mee seems too obvious to ignore. So I won't overthink that. I'll do that one. And then I am fucking sick to death, sorry for swearing, sick to death of King and Dennis in my team now. So King, I think King has to go. You know, he got a knock last game.
Flagged it.
Dennis is getting the points. He isn't. I don't care about the underlying data with him anymore. King. He's an underlying data basher, isn't he, King?
Yeah.
So forget him. He's out probably for Weghorst. But then I'm thinking, do I go crazy and do the -8 and get Brozier in as well for Dennis? So ditch both the Watford boys. That'll be the thing I kind of decide on, because then I'll get the Brozier in for next week. There's another doubler there, and then I can make another transfer to get another doubler in. Because I've sort of planned out which doublers I've got for each week, and I don't think I've got that many for next week, but I do for the week after.
So the reason behind that Dennis extra -4 for bringing in Broha is literally Broha's going to outperform Dennis for this game week.
Yeah, which I think he will. Watford got United. Brozier's got Thingy, and it allows me to get. It would effectively be delaying a -4, or like bringing a -4 forward, because I'd probably take a hit next week to get Brozier in anyway.
Mm.
And so why not do it this week when Brozier's got a better fixture than Dennis this week? I don't know. It's a weird mental thing. What would you do? That is -8 too much? Am I getting a bit hit happy there?
So this is where it comes down to that. Like when it's not a double game weeker, it's like, and they're both going to play.
Yeah, what am I doing?
It's one versus the other +4, isn't it? So like Brozier needs to outperform Dennis +4 points.
Yeah, he needs to score a goal to break even with Dennis.
Yeah, for you to break even. Like that's for me. Good? That feels a lot. I mean, maybe he bangs 2 in against Norwich, but for me, it's different because I'm bringing him to replace Edouard, who's not even going to play.
Yeah. Yeah, that is different. You're right. So you haven't even got the 2-point baseline of Edouard to build off.
No, and then there's the very low risk element to add on top. To add on top that although you were going to do it next week, if he gets injured in this game week, then you're just kind of lumbered with him.
Are we sure Watford don't have a double in 28, Josh?
They do. Sorry, they do.
They do. Yeah, I knew there was a reason I was keeping them. My
bad. Bad note taking on my part.
I was like, God, this is great news. I can get rid of Dennis.
But don't get him out.
That does change my plans a bit there.
That changes
I think
everything.
I am going to keep those bastards now.
Both of them, even
King out. Maybe still King out because he's got a knock anyway. I might ditch King for Weghorst for the -4, yeah. But that means I definitely won't do the -8 for Brozier, I think, because I might even do Weghorst to Brozier next week. Just pivot him out again to get Brozier's double. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we've done that to death. Captaincy, though, it's currently on Kane.
Oh,
But that was before I'd actually set that in a kind of bust team way before their Burnley disaster last night. So, question is, yeah, that's the question. If I brought Weghorst in, would it be Weghorst or would it be Kane? I don't know, man.
I mean,
I don't know.
Leeds is, even though they haven't been playing great, that's the team to play at the moment.
Exactly. It's tempting Spurs against Leeds. And that's why Son is my most feared player, I think, that I don't own. So
I don't think that's a bad captaincy at all. But yeah, if you brought Weghorst in, then
yeah, I mean, Weghorst, he scored that great goal. He's only got the one goal, hasn't he, so far, I think, for Burnley?
And an assist. He got the assist against United, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah. And he looks good, doesn't he? Just the eye test. He's fitting really well, and he looks a real handful. And Burnley on the up. So, yeah, I don't know. Oh, but that'll be a last-minute gut feel choice, I think.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough one. Tough call.
Yeah, it is. It is. Good.
Nice. Well, I think that's it. Nothing left to do apart from make those moves before the deadline, which is tomorrow, and see what happens.
Short and sweet. Is the deadline tomorrow? Is there a Friday game?
There is a Friday game.
There is a Friday game. Who is it?
That is the Southampton game, isn't it? Southampton Norwich.
Yeah, go on, Broja.
Yep, that's the 8 o'clock kickoff on Friday. So yeah, Southampton straight. And I think that's why also they were saying the news about Livy, because Hasenhüttl was saying that Perro is whatever his name is in for selection. So that makes it trickier.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
That's to consider. But yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it, Josh. Yeah, short and sweet today. That was good. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. If you on whatever platform you're on, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, we're on all of them. Check out the TikTok. We've been quite active on there, Josh, haven't we? We've been
smashing it, Jack. You've been
we've been pretty active. People seem to love it. They love us in much, much shorter time spans than these podcasts.
We're not taking it personally.
So yeah, fair enough. We'll keep shortening the podcast gradually until they're just 60 seconds long.
10 seconds. You can flip that.
But yeah, good luck for the match tonight, Josh, and for the rest of the game week, I think.
Same to you, Jack. So you can build on that 150.
Yeah, lovely. And we'll be back, I guess, next week ahead of the double at 27.
Talking doubles again.
28 even. Yeah, good.
All
right.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.